going to make it an amazing party that will put us on the social map in the Croydon, Wallington, Sutton area, which was where we lived, and it's going to be amazing. So I booked the Scout Hut at my church, at St Alfred's Church, and we prepared for the party of the century. And we were gonna invite like everyone, because obviously there was nothing worse than having a party that no one turned up to. But obviously, when you invite everyone, then everyone tells everyone else. And I had told my mum and dad there is no need for you to make any kind of appearance at all, because we have merely invited our closest female friends and a few boys from the Catholic school who are largely training for the priesthood and have no interests in matters of the flesh. There will be no alcohol, because the terms of the Scout Hut very much said there'll be no alcohol and the party must be over by 10:30. So my mum and dad rather foolishly allowed my sister Sally, who was 10 years older than me, to be the adult in charge at this party. And it all started absolutely fine. We got to about 9:30 and there were young people enjoying themselves, dancing, and then at about 9:30 Tracy had been going out with this boy and they had an argument, and he called out another girl's name. I know, right? And so this was obviously huge drama, so about 10 of us had to all go into the loos and discuss this and have a sort of summit. And then by the time we came back out, it was like a scene. Well, it was a scene from a movie. In fact, it being the 80s, it would have been like a sort of movie. One of those where I would have been played by Rick Moranis, and Tracy would have been, I don't know, Judd Nelson or someone. And it just absolutely was carnage. Some boys had turned up, some bad boys had turned up on motorbikes and had carved up the lawn, the lovingly tended lawn outside the Scout Hut. Unbelievable tricks. And they had taken down all the flags, you know, like the ceremonial flags in the Scout
flags.
Hut. Yeah, it was like a church parade. It was like a satanic church parade.
Wow, okay.
They were waving the flags around. There was just booze everywhere. I don't know, it just, in a matter of minutes, had turned from a sedate affair into this sort of bacchanal. Yeah. My sister completely went to pieces. She had no authority as a 26-year-old. She had a couple of her mates. They were a little bit tipsy as well. And so the police arrived, and the police called my dad. My dad was a little bit older than most of my friends' parents. He was 50 when I was born, so at this time he's 66 years old.
Right.
He's a pensioner, and he had a shock of white hair, which he used to brawl cream down during the day. It was about 11 o'clock, so we're past the time we were meant to be there, and also we're past my dad's bedtime. So my dad was in bed, the police call him, he gets up.
The hair has sprung up.
The hair is furious.
Right.
And he is furious, and he was wearing, my dad used to wear a string vest.
Okay. This is good.
So he had his pyjamas and his string vest on in bed, and he put some trousers on over his pyjamas, but the trousers were not long enough to cover the whole of the pyjama, so he had a sort of flare of pyjama out the bottom of the trouser leg. Also his flies were undone, just because why wouldn't they be?
Excellent.
And then he put his dressing gown on over the top.
Over the string vest.
Yeah, and he arrived. The other thing about my dad, of course, as well, is he was from Northern Ireland. He was from Belfast, and so he came down to disperse the party.
So I'm imagining, what's the guy in Back to the Future?
Yeah, Doc Brown.
Doc Brown from Back to the Future,
It is absolutely Doc Brown from Back to the Future, but with a very thick
angrier
Northern Irish accent and furious.
Right.
And I mean, the mortification. Obviously, everyone I knew and every boy I fancied and everyone I was interested in impressing was there. And my dad was standing screaming. I mean, in fairness, being Northern Irish in England in the 1980s, when he screamed, "You've got 10 minutes to get out," people did. They did.
Carries a certain weight.
It certainly had a certain resonance. So yeah, I was just mortified. I was sort of. I think the reason I want to confess to this is that I never apologised to my mum and dad, but principally to my dad or my sister. Because it was so obviously going to go wrong, and it was all about me just wanting to be popular, and my dad was so embarrassed, and you know, because the police, he was a local pharmacist.